Welcome to Inspired Learning, the Path of Exile podcast with Badger and Yoji. My name is Badger.
I'm Yoji.
And we are joined by the lovely Pohx this time around. 2 is pretty merry, but 3 is merrier. So how you doing, Pohx? Welcome.
Pretty good, man. Thanks for inviting me. So I'm pretty happy to be here. I always love talking about video games.
Oh, we're super hyped to hear a lot of your insight into some specific things about Path of Exile, things that we have not dabbled in, Yoji and I. We've kind of been avoiding a little bit, which is pretty much curses. I don't know. I've never really played around with curses much myself, but yeah.
I did some dabbling. I tried curses, just like self-casting the hexes and the curses just on a normal build that doesn't invest at all into it. Just like, I'm Fireball, might as well use flammability, right? Just put it on. But I didn't really go like investment. I didn't play any skill to interact, nothing like that.
Yeah, so I guess that's the first question that I kind of want to pose. People kind of already know. We might like just go through quickly and everything like that on our league starters and what we all did. But Pohx, like, how has your league start been, and what did you league start with?
So I league started with a Hierophant Archmage Hexblaster. So Hexblast, to explain, is basically real fast. Whichever target you hit it with, if they have negative, 182 fire, all of the chaos of Hexblast will mimic as if it's doing fire damage against their resistance. So you want to scale one type of damage. So I scaled lightning with Archmage, and then I used conductivity, LA weakness, which brings their lightning really far down with lightning exposure. So the lightning damage I'm doing is, works really well against their lightning res, and the chaos also works because it rolls against their lightning. Unfortunately, at about tier 10 maps on the bosses, the damage sort of just drops off. You go from 1 to 2 tapping bosses to like 4 to 8 tapping, and then you get into red tier, and then it's like 16 tapping, and then you fight Trox, the dude with socks, and then there's no more tapping, and then it gets really icky.
Spamming. Yeah. That's what I've heard from like so many people. Yeah,
you have to go crit. There's really, unless you're playing a cultist and you're using the helmet that makes it so targets have increased res, and you're literally using like every curse effect form in the game, and then getting them with EE to like negative 150, and then using the helmet to pull them even further. Maybe that's enough, but that's like already extreme for so many builds.
Yeah, the Eye of Malice, that one, isn't it? That
there
helmet?
You go. Yep.
I played around like a couple of leagues ago with that, and I kind of want to do it again now that this curse stuff is here, but I don't know. I don't know. You're not convincing me.
Also, the crit thing, doesn't it have like 4 base crit?
Yes, but it doesn't really have good support gems to use. So you can use an increased crit chance, and that's fine. That's good, right? Then you get power charge scaling if you go occultist or hierophant. So that's already good, right? And because it doesn't have many usable affixes for it, because you're playing such a weird skill, you have the option of going crit really easily. Like as a suffix for me, I don't roll chaos damage because that's only scaling half of my damage. I don't want lightning damage because that doesn't scale the chaos. So crit is perfect because crit scales both, right? So that does work. But I will say, to help convince you, the mapping feels extremely smooth, though, and I'll tell you why. But again, that got a lot less smooth later on. But when you're doing regular maps that don't have juiced influence with beyond, just regular basic tier mapping, I use Ellie Prolif, and I use a flask mod that gives me like 25% chance to inflict all ailments, right? So that with Ellie Prolif is already 45%. So I basically just hex touch, blast literally 2/3 of the screen, and then there are these massive prolifs of shock, fire, and freeze. So anything that comes in is just frozen. Yeah. And then when you get to bosses, you do still hit hard enough to permafreeze them. So that's great. But if you want to continue that, I think you have to go crit in later tier maps.
I mean, if you go crit, you always, like, on each crit, you inflict each ailment, right? Because it inflicts each ailment, and crit's always in that. I mean, maybe the 4 base crit was kind of like a little bit of a debate that a lot of people saw it and thought like, oh, I'm not going crit with that. But maybe even going assassin, like full crit memes.
You could. I really think crit, you have to do it. Like, there's no other way, because and if you use Ellie Prolif for clearing, it feels good because you have a decent ignite that kills straggler mobs, and that's already good. You know, it kills the crabs, kills some of the beyond, and then Ellie Prolif is just fantastic because you're prolifing a 50% shock to everything. And then I ended up taking the Cluster Jewel for 60%, which helped a lot with the damage. So.
Seems like there's some potential still there, yeah.
Now I'm kind of swaying a little bit back. Now I kind of want to try an assassin, you know? Like, this is cool. Yeah. Yeah, I really kind of... the curses were something that I just kind of put at the back of my mind with everything else that's been brought into this league.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I'm just about to try a... the archer skeletons and that sort of thing. You know, there's a bunch of other stuff as well, but yeah. Yeah. What were you going to say, Pohx?
I was going to say way back in the day of Path of Exile, before Ascendancies. This is why I love curses. I played only Fire Trap. Like, I was known for playing Fire Trap. And what I would do is I would oftentimes, it's weird for me to say this, but I would compete for like #1 at the ladder for just the first day. Just the first day. That's it, right? And when I'm mapping,
that was always hilarious. And everyone else was playing like meta stuff, and there was always like a Pohx on the ladder somewhere, like top 10, with like just like Fire Trap. But you knew it's like there was no competition. It's just like day 2 or 3 is always like and out of the top 10. Every time. That was hilarious.
So what I would do is when I'm mapping, I throw Fire Trap, and by the time the trap lands, you can curse 2 times really fast. Just QW, 2 curses. So I would throw Fire Trap and then Ellie Weakness Flam, and everything dies. Like, everything died. Like, nothing is going to live at like 2 curses in early tier mapping, even now in this state of the game, right?
Yeah.
So then a lot of people started adapting, like realizing curses were so strong. Like, oh my God, like you have literally no investment and it just destroys. So I was like, you know what? I would like to go back to that time. But the problem is now you curse, boom, Beyond Pack. You curse, boom, crabs die, come back to life. Curse, boom, influence, totem spawns, keep spawning mobs. And it's like, oh my God, I can't keep cursing. Like, yeah.
I mean, that is a legit issue with self-cursing. Like, if you are at a state where your build kind of needs the curse to clear well, it's just not. It's more of a buff, like a debuff that you add on top of what you already have in like some situations. But cursing everything is, except for like maybe blasphemy or auto cursing, is not viable, I think.
I wish that they made it so Doomsday, because I've never even really looked much at it. It's just such a complicated thing. I wish they made it so it would simply buff curses, and it made it so curses linger for 1 second. Yep. So when you curse, it still does its normal thing, but now it's like there's like consecrated ground of enfeeble, and anything that enters, it just, you know, and it doesn't gain the benefit of immediate doom, but it still ramps. But that way you don't have to like, you know, because those stupid hallways you're running like cells, and the mobs just keep running through the door, and then you're just like, curse okay, curse okay. So
so how does it actually work with Doomsday? I've not tried it yet. Does it? It's supposed to create like an area, right?
I haven't even used Doomsday, but from what I've been explained, you basically curse, and then there's an area, and then after 1 second, they immediately get inflicted with max doom, which is so big because you literally can get max doom in like a second with little investment, and you don't need max doom for anything except for like, you know, a red beast, an essence mob, a boss. You don't like, because you're not gonna. You don't wait. Nobody waits when mapping, right? You go, because if you wait, you're gonna die because mobs are gonna come to you.
Yeah, when I first saw that they were bringing in a curse Keystone, I was like, I was exactly thinking what you were saying, Pohx. You know, having this almost, I just like imagine like Doedry, you know, her totems or something like that just curse you when you're in them or something like that. Like the curses become something like that, or you know, or obviously a lot shorter duration. I was like, it's gonna be really cool.
There's like what's called the promenade map boss that does the conductivity that travels around. This like circle that just travel. The bishop dude who also spawns the curse area. I thought it would be that. I thought we get that when we take Doomsday.
Yeah,
I think it is. It's just so I think, and I very well could be wrong here. It's a circle that has the curse on it, but the curse has 0 curse effect scaling from Doom it still gets curse effect scaling, but then the Doom immediately goes from 0 to cap when the curse like expires, not expires, but when the circle expires. So I think that works, but it doesn't for Hexblast, because for Hexblast you need something to get it to work.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we're all just playing it the wrong way. Who knows? So that could be a thing too.
It's a new skill. You kind of have to try and make it work how you think it works, right? I think a lot of people have tried some of the new skills to varying success.
What a lot of people are doing is they go one blasphemy, which makes sense because one blasphemy means that all mobs are always cursed, but you don't have any strong doom. You just have like a basic doom, but that still triggers so that you can AOE with Hexblast.
So you still get the added doom on blasphemy?
No.
You don't get it, right?
No. But when there's a curse, it tries to like rip it and explode it. So naturally, it tries to so when I curse a hexproof pack,
you still get the AOE.
Yes, exactly. When you curse a hexproof, there's no additional damage, but when you hit, it hits everything.
That's great for clear, I guess. So having perma, I don't know, enfeeble, whatever, one curse, defensive or offensive, whatever you want, just gonna boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that makes sense.
Then it gets weird because then it's like you get to a boss and you're still using 2 manual curses, which means when you're at the boss, so say you run enfeeble and then you have like frostbite, ally weakness. So you get to the boss, frostbite, ally weakness. Okay, now you wait like half a second, 1 second. He's at max doom. Okay, make sure whatever buffs you're rotating are good. So for me, it's like stand on top of my Sigil of Power, proc Arcane Cloak on Sigil of Power, make sure Sigil of Power is active. Bam, slam the boss. But then you have to remember what did you curse with first, because then you want to technically use the curse you just consumed, or you can just double tap it and then double curse, or you can go Unleash and then just tap one time and it pops it, but it gets drastically weaker because the other parts of Unleash are not consuming anything because there's already nothing there, right? Because it has no more curses.
So we'd have 4 curses for like an Unleash setup.
Yes, but then you have to think every
1,
time.
2, 3, 4.
Yes. That's what I was doing. It was actually
that sounds cool though. It's probably super annoying to play, but it probably also looks cool.
It really was. So when I played Unleash, it was so I would get to a boss and I would drop my giant Sigil of Power and I would proc the Sigil of Power and I would look at my Arcane Cloak and I'm like, okay, max doom. And sometimes I would just like straight up one tap it. It would just dead. But then when you stop one tapping, it gets really bad.
Yeah.
It just really falls off. You gotta go crit.
Have you played much with just like full Ignite or seen much with full Ignite? I heard some people were getting a relative amount of success with like big Ignite crits with Hexblast.
Yeah, so I haven't seen crit Ignites yet, but I know Noogie played Ignite based, and I technically was not Ignite based, but I had a massive hit that would still form an Ignite.
Yeah.
Which would still do damage, but I don't know about single target. I've heard people are going, they go Archmage, Occultist Ignite, they go Archmage, Hierophant Ignite, and then they go Trickster Ignite. Those are the only 3 variants I've heard of. But I hear people saying it works, but I don't see anyone showing it works. Yeah. Like I know the clear could be fine for sure.
Trust me, this definitely works. Just try it. Wink, wink.
Ziggy was actually league starting. Hexblast Ignite Occultist, and he said it looks pretty fine. From what I've seen, it wasn't like in red maps and super end game stuff, but from what I've seen, it looked all right in like end of yellow maps, I think it was. But that's where your build still was kind of like doing all right. So it's hard to tell if it will drop off or not.
There's a boss that literally made me alt F4. It's you know the boss. It has like the labyrinth layout. It's the green ghost who shoots the laser beam. She's permanently hexproof.
Oh,
you can't. The boss is permanently hexproof.
No.
I literally had to kill the boss. It took me like 800 hex blasts. I'm just GG. What do? I'm like, am I running a hexproof map? No, the boss is literally
cool skill in.
It says hexproof on the label always.
Yes, on the boss. The boss is a
Occultist could just do it, right?
Yes, Occultist is fine. Occultist can bypass.
No.
Hierophant, you'd have to use a pure green chess piece with a blue skill. Like that doesn't make sense.
Have fun coloring that, that's good.
We need harvest coloring back for that.
We really do. Yeah.
Just full white corruption. Who cares?
That
sounds. The goddesses. That seems mean. I mean, there's some bosses could be troublesome. Dodri, I think when she's like the fat Dodri, I think she eats them. Eats curses and gets a buff.
Toxic. She gets
Unholy Might
chaos. Yes. But she eats all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
So for my build, I would run up to Dodre and I'm like, curse, Sigil. Okay, good. Arcane Cloak. I'm like, what happened? No damage. I was like, oh my god. But that was okay. That's at least like kind of funny, right?
It has some counterplay. You kind of have to curse at the last second or whatever. That's cool.
Exactly.
I think that is a cool way of curse immune, to be honest. That's like how it should be with the goddess as well. And there's also the bishop. I think he does like when you curse him, I think he does like these AoE spikes. Yeah, that's also I think that's also a cool way of being like, don't curse. Well, Ziri, she reflects them. It's also
I'm learning things. I would just die to those spikes and be like, what happened? Now I know that it's when you curse him. Thanks, Yoji.
The best, the best thing is. The best thing is if you run in with blasphemy, you just stand there, you just keep spamming until you move away. He's just like, get off me, get off me. Like, I don't have any of that. Get off. He is the bishop. He doesn't like blasphemy. I mean, that makes so much lore-wise.
That's
so much sense.
That is very true.
Yeah. Man, that's it's so cool to hear first-hand information about the curses. I'd be just like dancing around them.
A doozy, man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yoji, how's your? Are you still going on your fireball, or are you doing a different character now?
I've gone through I've gone through a bit of a rough self-finding phase of like finding myself, finding my way in PoE. I actually made a video about like playing at your own pace and how SSF can like really help you with burnout from like trade league, whatever, like just chasing exalted orbs. And
which is a really good video, by the way, everyone. You should go check it out. It's a good one. Anyway.
And by making that video, I actually convinced myself to play SSF, so I restarted SSF now. Which is a bit... I like talked about it, was like, yeah, when I'm saying that, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, why I'm playing trade again, I don't even know, man. I just like now I restarted an SSF yesterday, and I played my Fireballer till Awakening level 5 Cirrus, and did Archmage Ignite Fireball as a trickster. Yep, that went well. I killed him. Wasn't the quickest fight. Still, Ignite is still like not crazy single target unless you get like double cluster jewels set up. At which point it is actually pretty good single target. I had like roughly with Flame Wall is pretty good. You get like 1 million Cirrus DPS, kinda alright, but it's the same setup as Pohx. That's just like, okay, Arcane Cloak, Flame Wall, but what's the other thing? A curse, and this and that, and then one Fireball.
The firewall.
Yeah, through the. That's actually for Cirrus with the teleporting around he does.
Oh yeah,
I'm
true.
like all buffs up. Firewall, and he's like, whoop, I'm over here now. I'm like, fuck you, dude, what the hell? Come on. And every time. So yeah, it took a bit of practice as well, but once I got the positioning down and the buff, the cycling a bit better, the fight went pretty well. And after that, I kind of decided to reroll, and I played a bit with Iron Mass. That's one of the new uniques. It's the sword that when you wield it, your skeletons wield a copy of this.
Yeah.
The main reason I chose that skill is because when you do that, the skeletons take over your MTX as well. So if you give them like a colossal machete with like fire, you have like these skeletons with like these huge fire machetes.
Cool.
That was pretty good. The build wasn't pretty good. It's just, I think you can scale it really well. What I did is, so what the sword says is it gives them the Unholy Might, and they wither on hit, and it has like a lot of stats. It has like 280-ish Fizz DPS. And it does, what else does it do? Oh yeah, when you hit recently with this weapon, the skeletons do triple damage with the weapon. So what I did is I scaled a crap ton of added flat. I went champion with like the Impale, Master of Metal scaling. I put on Awakened Added Chaos gem. I put on 5,000 Abyss Jewels with a Darkness and Throne belt and whatnot, and with like flat added Chaos and Fizz on everything. And they actually did okay damage with like absurd investment. Oh, yeah, I also had a full white Triad grip for full Chaos conversion. I did like Withering Touch. I went like full meme, and it did some damage. And white maps felt alright. It was pretty good, pretty good for like a 70 Chaos sword, like a 1x sword, and 2 to 3x gloves and like 5x in Abyssal Jewels. I think it was okay.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that good. But now I'm playing Domblow. That's the better version of I want to hit stuff and have minions in SSF. It's really
true.
I stole the Bella Mage build. It's amazing. Yeah. Can recommend.
It's good.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
All right.
Yeah.
But Pohx, you also. You went like super quiet.
Oh, I was saying I want to play Domblow at some point.
It's fun. What's really fun about this in this league, when you're in a heist and then on the other side it's like all guards like lined up like with shields up. On your side it's the same thing with a Domblow. You have like these 12 dudes that are also all standing there behind you. It's like, I brought my own gang. I don't care. I'm just going in.
Let's go.
It's pretty fun. But I'm SSFing. I'm still leveling. I'm heisting a lot. Like at least I got screwed out of leveling with heist because I crashed in every heist. So I'm like slowly leveling and heisting a lot and kind of taking my league start back now.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I've been thinking of doing the same thing because I've literally been out of commission for pretty much. I think I've streamed once since the last podcast, which was 7 days ago, because just this throat infection has just been the worst. But streams will be back tomorrow, which will be really good. So I'll actually be able to play the game again. But yeah, I'm thinking about
Exile.
maybe trying to just league start again and just like start fresh, because it just feels really weird now being like almost 2 weeks into a league and having played at maximum like 5 days of that league. It's really weird. So I might even do some SSF shenanigans or something like that. But I'm taking one more swing at the skeletons, not with the sword though. With the, as I was saying before, with the phantasmal alternate quality, which turns them into archers. Which, as you first equip it, they attack like once every 6 seconds. It feels like it's really slow. It's not that slow. That's an over exaggeration, but their attacks are really slow. So I'm gonna have to see how that feels once we scale some more attack speed and everything. But yeah, yes.
Yeah, you just have to go like super ham on attack speed. Make them aggressive. Does that change anything? I feel like.
I don't know, like I'm like level 12
feeding frenzy, because the normal skellies, when they are not aggressive, they just kind of like derp around with their swords, go like this, and if you make them aggressive, they gain like the dash and crazy, also just go ham, just like skeletons like everywhere. And with others, they're like
I'm very interested to see what the archers are like with it, because it still has that tag on the gem, you know, like they will dash when made aggressive or something like that is what it says. But
the archers, they got blink arrow.
Yeah, yes, maybe.
That would be so
That'd be super cool. Yeah. But I think we should let's talk about the actual heist mechanic again itself, and how we're feeling with it at this current point, because we've had a lot of fun talking about our own personal experiences with our own builds, but you know, there's been some things happening, and we talked a lot about this last podcast, Yoji and I, about certain things that were added and everything like that. But then with the addition of the manifesto type of thing, or the upcoming changes that Grinding Gear Games brought out for the heist changes that are going to be coming. I don't know. Have you had a look through that, Pohx? Have you looked into that much, or have you just been playing and, you know?
I haven't seen the manifesto, but I've done a lot of heists. I've done all the way up to 83 heists. I've done 83 grand heists. I actually have never died in heist yet, ironically.
Well done.
Either of my characters. Both of my characters are great for it. The Carrion Golem character I'm playing now is just really dumb. I don't understand why a Golem should give me 16% physical mitigation for literally no investment. And
it's true.
The other character, the Hexblaster, as much of a meme as it is, when you just see that line of guards and they're just like, shields up, and you're just like, curse, 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 boom! And it's just the whole screen's Ali Prolip, so everyone's frozen. So I just walk through and that's it. Just move to the next pack. It was great.
Yeah. True. How are you finding? Have you experienced, or did you experience many like bugs or anything like that during the heist experience? Yeah. Yes.
So before it was fixed a bit. Day 2 of the league, I started heist. I'm like, guys, let's go do it. People like, it's so rewarding. I'm like, all right, dude. So I go in heist and I get my first 5 link, and I'm like, oh my god, I got a 5 link. Crashed. Didn't see a 5 link for 3 days.
Same.
There we go, dude. Then I went into 2 grand heists, and people were like, Pohx, there's a chance when you get to your grand heist that the door won't open. I'm like, what do you mean the door won't open? They're like, well, it won't open. I'm like, I don't understand. So I go over there, and the door is just not opening. And I'm just like, oh, what? So they're like, yeah, just move away and come back. I'm like, okay, move away, come back, nothing. And I'm like, well, I got 3 wings, so let me just go check the other. All 3 of them bugged. So then I did another one, same thing, bugged and bugged. So then I waited. Thankfully, since they deployed their patch recently, I have not had a single crash, and nothing has been bugged except for the stupid NPCs still don't listen. Like, you walk up to a door and you press V, and he's I'll get that done right away.
It's annoying.
I'll get that done right away. Quickly, yeah, all right, let's go. And I'm like, dude, fucking open the door. And you have to, like, run off a screen and come back.
They're just, like, standing, but, like, behind another door, just, like, looking at something, and...
Or like 1v1ing like a white mob for like 5 days. Yeah. Because some of them are like no combat stats. Just like,
they just want to fight.
Yeah. The funniest bug that I saw, I think I only saw it today on like a VOD or so. I think I was watching like a DatMods VOD or something like that. But his whole heist bugged. I think it was a grand heist, and he just like every item he couldn't pick up. Like they were on the ground. He couldn't pick them up.
You can't click loot, right? And then, if you click on it, nothing happens.
Yeah, and then he tried to just get out of the heist, and he couldn't click the door.
Yeah,
he just couldn't leave.
It's a bug with the instance,
the instance bugs. You can't interact with anything, even like chests, whatever. Nothing works.
That's terrible.
It's pretty terrible. It's funny when it's not happening to you, but I've had a lot of bugs happen to me as well. Like the door thing happened to me as well, and I could literally see like, I think it was it was day one, so the cold version of the Archmage was still like quite expensive or something like that, and I knew someone wanted it as well, and I could literally see it, and I just couldn't get it. I was like, all right.
God, I hate to see it.
Yeah.
Actually, one bug that I found super funny is, you know, the new Bex helmet that Bex designed? It has a channel ability that allows you to channel on mobs, on your, what's it called? The minions you have, your allies. And you can buff them with like crazy attack speed and damage, I think. But once you release the channel or you hit like 13 stacks, they explode and deal like fizz damage. So it's kind of like a minion instability build enabler.
Yeah.
It also explodes rogues.
Yep. You just goodbye allies.
Just like, oh hi tips.
Oh no.
What up, Isla? Hey, nice blow torch you got there.
Like, what happens to
you brick the instance.
You can't progress because it's done.
Unless you have literally no door to open, I think you can actually finish. But if you do that like early, then you. I think that is a funny bug. That's still, I think that is still in the game actually. They didn't. There was no patch saying it's fixed. So
might actually have to farm that helmet too.
Yeah.
I'm curious about it.
Oh yeah.
It's very farmable, by the way. Just like a few graveyards, I think, or cemeteries. I think it's graveyard. I got like 3 cards.
Oh wow!
Like super quickly. So it's very farmable.
Oh, brilliant! Maybe that's an SSF goal if I restart there. We'll see.
It's the only way I can make my minions aggressive because primordials do not exist.
Yep.
I've chained T16 delirium maps in SSF with so much quantity and just nothing. They just don't drop.
That's so.
I actually found 3 jewels in the private league before I quit.
Really? Like primordial jewels?
Yep. And
man.
Almost 4 out of 5 cards are also just from running Geode a bit. Yeah, it's just insane.
Okay, you know what? So I was researching a post. Someone linked me today from 2019. In his post, he said, all of these maps are scam. The only one they drop out of is Geode. And I said, that can't be right because that post is a year old. Clearly, it's incorrect. And now I hear again this Geode information. I gotta go farm Geode instead, man.
I think it is supposed to drop everywhere, every map that has a golem boss. So like Wharf and Geode but I've only seen them in Geode.
I remember farming Wharf a couple of leagues ago, and it was dropping them like candy. I don't know.
But I haven't gotten it all. I have
not
red
now?
tier Wharfs.
Ooh.
Nope.
Maybe
I have
nerf
T16 Grotto and like tier 13 or tier 14 Wharf. Never seen it. I've mainly juiced Grotto. I've juiced Coves. Never seen it. I have not ever juiced it on Geode.
Oof.
Try Geode, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got like 3 jewels. Not 3 different ones. I got 2 harmonies and one of the what's the dark red one? I think that's the aggressive one, right?
That's the good one.
Yeah, that's the good one.
That's the good one.
That's how I funded the completely scuffed skeleton build by selling golem mans and stuff because Crip is I think playing carrying golems as well. And that's why everything is super expensive right now. Oh, by the way, I also converted to trade league before I started in the private league, converted to trade, and then went SSF just to give some context.
You're bouncing all over the place. When are you going to go?
Yeah, I said it was a bit of a mental journey. As I mentioned.
Yeah, man. Apart from like bugs and everything like that I've been experiencing in Heist for the very small amount that I have been playing over the past week while I've been almost comatose on antibiotics and everything. They've been really enjoyable when they don't crash, albeit probably not as rewarding as they could be. I don't know. They don't feel amazing right now. It feels like they haven't hit the sweet spot. But The one thing that I'm really interested in, that I've always been interested in, is like the bosses and everything like that. That they've have they released the bosses? Have they been released? Because I'm just totally out of it. Or do we?
In the manifesto, it says they will release 2 bosses this week and another boss next week.
Okay.
But I don't know how many there are.
Yeah.
I see that. I found one unique heist, but I currently have the bug since like the whole weekend. Whenever I put like a grand heist in and press enter, it just deletes it and crashes my game. So I'm not doing any grand heist at the moment. I just like put it into the heist map, the grand heist. I like buy all the stuffs, put all the
I haven't seen that one yet.
I just put it in. Thank you. But it doesn't crash before, it crashes after, so it naturally gets
right. It has to load it and then crash, so it consumes it.
Yeah, I tried it twice, just like to be sure that it was not a one-time thing. It crashed twice. It was definitely a 2-time thing. I'm not going to try anymore because it's like 5k coins per
I have
button.
I
have like a bazillion coins, but I want to use them, not
not waste them. I'm sitting on 19 grand heists, just waiting, making sure everything is like good. I actually really like them. I think it's super rewarding.
Yeah.
Yes.
For me.
Like, SSF it is.
Yeah.
The
well,
best.
I have a replica Feral's fur that I really want to make a build around that looks nuts. So I like it.
What does it do? Is it endurance charges?
It's so you have permanent frenzy and endurance charges because every time it flips, it gives you a frenzy and it max frenzy endurance. And it makes it so the agility instead of the stealth gets 2 extra seconds. So I'm pretty sure you have 4 seconds on dodge and 8 seconds on Cat's agility. And while you're in Cat's agility, you have onslaught. So you have 66% uptime on onslaught and much higher uptime on the Feral's fur normally. And what people have been doing, have you heard about the Discharge build?
I have not.
I know Discharge as a build, but not with that one.
So they're using Slayer. Someone told me about it. And you take that node, the node that matches your frenzy with your endurance, and you go full endurance and you wear Feral's fur, and it gives you max frenzy when it flips. So you have 10 frenzy, 10 endurance charge with Feral's fur. And then you use less duration, so you make it tick faster, and you're just every 2 seconds you have 20 charges that it just keeps flipping.
That's a lot of for Discharge. That's a good build.
So and your Slayer. So
and like AoE scaling and stuff.
Yep.
I like
and you
this.
can get headsman, and it's a good chess piece. It has 100 life on it. It gives you alternating buffs. It makes Aspect of the Cat cost no mana, so you just literally craft it anywhere. In Trade League, it's not a problem, and even in SSF, it's not that bad. You could target farm it. So
and you can actually do it as Ignite if you really wanted to as well, because you can go cold to fire.
Then you go Realm Ender. Realm Ender gives cold to fire, and you go Avatar of Fire. You have 100% conversion already, and Realm Ender is target farmed. So, yep.
Oof.
We have ourselves a build.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, Yoji knows that like Discharge is like my favorite skill, and my league starter was a Discharger, but like my drops and my playtime have just been absolutely abysmal this league. So I've kind of been just struggling through, but I need to go back to it. So yeah. If I get one of those, that sounds pretty tasty. And and Badge of the Brotherhood on that as well. You just get like power charges.
What does Badge of the Brotherhood do?
So Badge of the Brotherhood does what the Slayer thing does.
But no, it doesn't work like this, right?
Frenzy to power.
No, it's
charges.
It's power to frenzy.
Oh, is it power to frenzy?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because you use it on Assassin, right?
Oh, it is too. Oh, I thought it was
Wrong way.
Oh no, I thought it was the other way. Never mind.
No,
Never
I think
mind.
it's power to frenzy.
I mean, that would be a little broken if you had 30.
I was getting a little too excited
30
there.
charges for like.
You can do it. You can do it the other way, right? Wasn't there like a Jouse's build where he did like all charges like super maxed?
You can do it somehow, but it's some crazy amount of investment that you're gonna get more damage.
Yeah, it was
absolutely
absolutely mean, but you can somehow like.
Yeah, you definitely could do it. It'd be so cool.
Just for the one shots.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but talking about the rewarding thing, they said in the announcement that they want to make heist rewards a bit better, in the sense that they want to give less generic rewards, just like the treasure chest icon, and more specific rewards in like higher maps, which I think is a good compromise of not just going too ham, because I think for SSF it is currently
It's nuts. It's crazy. It's out of control. I have like an interjection to throw in for GDG. Basically, like, I think the problem they have is a lot of the community in Trade League will say Heist is not very valuable, and even in Trade League, I agree if you're doing, you know, crazy endgame stuff, yeah, like it's hard to compete with that. But for the average player, it should be much better than what they're doing. The problem, though, is most people are not gearing up each character with their associated perks and then using those associated people for specific perks and then synergizing both of them together and then modifying it by making sure your personal trinket is benefiting you in the heists and grand heists you're running, because that's really convoluted and unnecessary. That's just like, I don't know, I just feel like it's so much. It's like each character has 4 slots and then they have 3 different things that they can do. Yeah. But then, of course, they have a main. I just wish it would be like each character could maybe just do 1 to 2 things and it was just simplified so you could focus more on, because I don't want to, like, who wants to spend 50 Alks and Chaos, you know, rolling a piece of gear to put on a guy that's situational?
I like it. I think it's cool.
You like it? Okay, that's good.
I love it.
That's fine. That's good.
I put like probably like 1,000 alterations on Trade League into just like alterating, regaling gear pieces to like make a setup. I have like 2 setups. One setup where it's basically reduced alert from chests. So when I have open a chest, I have like 25% of just like not generating anything, and then if I generate, I still have like 40% reduced. And I have a different setup. That's when I run Isla, that my lockdown timer gets increased. So what you do is you get like
multiple setups.
Increase. You have 2 setups basically. So I have two crews that work well together, and the other one is you can increase the lockdown timer, right? You sometimes roll it on maps, on heists, and you sometimes roll it on gear pieces, like 10% increased lockdown for 15%. You can easily get the lockdown timer to like
2+ minutes, right?
Yeah, to like 3 minutes or whatever, which is usually just like run through, open everything.
It's pretty funny.
And then it's like, okay, I'm like 60-70% through, and now I have like 3 minutes to get out. Okay, that's wouldn't be a problem. Just like open everything else, take the stuff, and go out. That's actually going to get nerfed, they said. They still want it to be a viable strategy, but they are planning to nerf that strategy
it's really, in the upcoming patches. Strong.
Oh yeah, it is a bit too
bypass everything.
Yeah, because you bypass the mechanic basically. And Isla has, I think, like she alone has like 40%.
60, I think 60.
Yeah,
it's like crazy.
Some crazy number. Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Which is like a super good stat.
Yeah. I think I kind of side a little bit more with Pohx on it just being a little bit convoluted for just the general playstyle of Path of Exile, but that's just because I'm a bit of a careless gamer when it comes to Path of Exile. You'll find me on like a level 95 character sometimes, and I'll have like a white quartz flask, and I just like I haven't even like put anything on it, which is, you know, that's pretty bad. But like,
happens to me.
Yeah,
I mean, I had like slash passives at level 97, missing like 2 points, and the whole time I was on an SSF lacerator, and I was missing the whole time. I was wondering why I can't like. I always feel like I'm missing points because my path of building was like this way, and my character was like, where am I going wrong? This is just not. How is it not working? What is it? And then like at some point, I think when I already like quit the character, somehow it was like slash passes. Like, wait.
Yeah, that happened. That happened to me this league with carrying golems. I didn't realize I was just face rolling everything. I was level 90, and I realized I could turn in my Katava points for 2 points.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
You just sped like straight from Katava straight to maps or something, or like
I did. I just woke up from Elementalist, and like you don't even have like I literally had like 2 white pieces of gear on, and I'm res capped, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
and then I'm immune to ailment. I'm like, what? Like, not like what even happens? And then you summon a Chaos Golem, you have a permanent Basalt Flask. I'm like, okay. So,
yeah.
Who needs gear?
So like
when you have golems?
For me, like having 9 different NPCs. Well, there's a few that you don't really use. Let's be honest. There's a few that
it's mainly Huck that you. But you just don't use Huck.
Yeah. But like to me, gearing myself up is enough of an arduous challenge. I just want to kind of get out there and just see what I can drop. And I don't play the game efficiently. I don't play it super fast, but I like to see how fast I can be while being inefficient. I don't know if that makes sense, but like
in your own way.
Yeah. I like to just go and you know, not min max, but just like go. And so it's really hard for me to kind of adjust to well, now we've got like 4 items per person, and I've got to, you know, I've got to know all these new mods and everything like that, especially being out of the league for half of the league already. I've just got all of everything, all of the trinkets that I've dropped just in one tab, and I'm just leaving them there for the moment. But no, I definitely should get around to it, because I'm sure it can be extremely rewarding once you get some cool setups.
Really, all you have to do, like at the beginning, as a person who hasn't engaged as much, so I'm like in between both of you, just like alt regal or whatever you want until you just get reduced alert on like every general piece, and then if you want to make like a setup, then you can start crafting other pieces for like specific setups. I love the crafting of the NPCs. I'm even okay with how many there are. It's just, for me, it gets confusing because they can be used in multiple roles. So I'm trying to roll their gear for a specific thing, and then technically, like, I would need multiple setups for different roles. I guess that's where I get confused, because I'm still like a go-go.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say against the argument that it's a bit too convoluted is that you basically can run heists completely fine, and they're still rewarding enough without ever touching the system.
That's true.
They are like tiny incremental things that if you like specialize in 1 or 2 of them, they can be really good. But if you don't, it's still runnable. You still get like say like 70 or 80% of the reward just to grab like the last 20% chests. You need some investment, basically. That's currently how it is. Also, one thing that's really fun on the weapon slot, there's like a slot where you have like spearheads or daggers or whatever. Like this, you can roll auras on there and give them like level 5 or level 10 auras. So you can be like
from 2 of my guys.
Heist is really fun as well. If you're running minions. Malevolence I had on my fireballer was an archmage, so I had no auras. So I just put malevolence on all the dudes. It's like easy malevolence.
I take it back then. I'll take it back, and I'll say I'm agreeing more with Yoji, because I'm used to usually having it where if you're not fully engaging with the league mechanic, you're just not, it's not worth it, right? A lot of the time, but that's not at all the case with Heist. Like literally, you could, as he said, you could go into Heist with no one equipped with anything at all, and you could just look at the map and be like, okay, divination cards and currency, and then you can just map out, you know, get to like 90%, and then pick it up, go grab it, and you're still like, you grab a lot of the heist already.
And that's kind of how I've been playing it at the moment. Like I've just been going into them and being like, hey, you know, the currency chest looks good, I'm gonna grab those, and like just no forward planning with my guy. Like I'm just trying to level them all up, and I'll probably deal with it probably like month 2 or something like that. I'll finally be like, all right, now I'll think about how to actually you know make it better. But yeah, it works and it is rewarding. And yeah, I think the only thing people are saying that is not rewarding, as you were saying before, Pohx, is it's not as rewarding as the highest end content that you can just like purchase in bulk, run in bulk, sell in bulk, purchase in bulk, you know, do that whole loop. It's just not as profitable as that. And it doesn't need to be. I don't know, like it's its own thing.
There's too much of a spectrum from the average player who plays, you know, X amount a day to the person who plays 16 hours a day. Like you have to have the middle ground, where the middle ground for them would be they farm their T16 content, they farm up 10, you know, grand heists, they have their support roll them, and then when they're ready, they just zoom it all out. And I mean, that's how they should be doing it realistically, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. I also think that it doesn't have to be as rewarding as the highest tier content. What they're working on as well is that they want to buff the experience that it grants, because currently it's pretty abysmal.
Yes.
I wonder how they will do it. I think there are many ways, but in general, when you're heisting a lot, you kind of fall behind in levels after a bit, which is not too bad, because that way I didn't outlevel my Atlas when I was heisting a lot, which was kind of alright. But yeah, I think that's definitely a bit of an issue.
I'm just waiting for the videos to come out of people leveling a character from 1 to 80, like only in heists, you know, preparing like all of the heists and everything like that, or you know, or like actually doing that myself. I want to. Sorry.
Like a heist challenge sounds fun. So get this: when I was leveling my Hex Blaster, I was trying to farm. I forgot, what are the gloves called that give you like the multi curse when you socket it? You curses all at once. I forgot what the gloves are called.
Vixen's Entrapment.
Yeah, so they're level for they're like item level 36 for the base gloves. So I leveled a new character, got them to 36, went to the hideout, typed in engineering, bought out all the engineering ones, then sold a Scour with a Wisdom, which makes a D-level one, de-leveled my guy, which resets the vendor, then bought out the new ones because it's +1 level, so it's 36, then went and got a level, bought out the engineering, de-leveled, bought him out, and was trying to specifically target farm that. But technically, you can make a heist challenge where you start a character, start heist, and every time you level up, you get like 8 new heists. So you could technically make a heist-only character and only use gear you get out of heist and stuff. It's like, unlike Delve, this is like 100% self-sustain, as long as you have like transmutes and use to buy it from the guy, which is nothing.
You get so much like tiny currency orbs from
Oh yeah, so much. Yeah. No, it's going to be super, super cool. I think the last month of this league's going to be really interesting. There's going to be some crazy builds coming out from people. There's going to be just like fun, like heist challenges. I'm definitely going to do something like that. I'm now even thinking of like setting up some sort of cool private league that is based around the rewards in Heist. Anyway, I'll keep thinking about that. Myself,
I can see that. Yeah. Like you might maybe like a faction one, like you did last time.
Yeah. There's going to be a faction one every league. So
I have an idea. Like maybe like do you know how sometimes like you have like these gentleman burglars, gentleman thieves who just don't steal because they need the money because they like the stuff. Yeah. So you could have like a collectors league where basically just collecting the most different heist rewards as a team wins or something like this. That could be cool.
I think the tough thing that I want to do is I want to do something that's still trackable by the API, and I think the only thing, well, it'd be really hard to, and you could list them as a people would have to list them like publicly, which then you could say, okay, but you need like premium stash tabs, but then if you are in a team, you can just toss it all to one guy. Like there will be people like us who have like 500 stash tabs they don't use, so that's not a problem. They can like basically host the whole league, and then you could require people to have like a prefix to their name, so you could grab the stats. That could work. Maybe that could just be pretty cool. Yeah. Oh man, now I'm thinking too much into this. back to Heist. Oh man. So like they're planning to buff the Heist rewards. Look, more rewards is always a nice thing, but like I think it's general consensus here between us that the rewards are already still pretty fine. Like they feel pretty nice, especially for SSF, as you two are saying. I haven't tried SSF yet this league, but I can really imagine that it's pretty darn awesome.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a super good example. You open up Zana, you look, she has a tier 14 Elder map for you. What does it cost? 4 Chaos Orbs. How many do you have? None. Run a Grand Heist that says rewards currency. Get to the end, you just see a box. What does it give? 8 Chaos Orbs.
Yeah.
Just click it. And you're like, that's mine. So
Jink.
And in trade, you're like, 8 Chaos Orbs. Ew.
Yeah.
But even like 20 Chance Orbs. I had when I was like early mapping, you buy a lot of maps from Zana for chance orbs, right? So I was like super low on chance orbs. I ran like a Grand Heist wing. I was like 20 chance orbs. I was like, baby, 20 chance orbs.
Yep, I used all my chances. Was heisting yesterday. I'm up to 200. They're all gone. Good. I'm like, what?
Yep. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
So but I think for trade, it's definitely lacking. I heard a lot of like top tier players saying that's absolutely not worth like time wise, because you gain no experience and the loot is worse than even running like, let's say, mildly juiced red tier maps. Like if you run 14 to 16s with like 3 scarabs, not even like full map device, and a Zana mod and nothing else, not even Delirium, just like fortune favors, that does out reward, like just in a currency per hour way, does out reward Heist pretty heftily. So I can see it being an issue with trade at the moment, which is one of the reasons I went SSF, because I don't have these problems anymore.
Trade is just really, really weird right now, because I think the general consensus is, I don't know if it's been like officially mentioned, I don't think it has been officially mentioned, but pretty sure there's like hardly any trade bots or anything like that in the game at the moment. Some sort of change that happened, whether they figured out a really good way to be able to determine and ban trade bots really easily, or whether somehow the in-game files changed and that's how the bots get into it. Anyway, the market's just very strange, which is really interesting to see. But also, just on the comment of trade bots, like they're there to, you know, they're there to sell on RMT sites. So in my opinion, good riddance. If it's doing something weird to the economy, we'll get used to it. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. But yeah, I'm guessing like Pohx, you pretty much always play SSF, right? Is that correct?
Nowadays, yeah, I've been the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
Did you You used to play hardcore trade, right? Like back in we both used to actually play hardcore trade.
Well, originally I started in standard before there were leagues, and then I got bullied into hardcore. So I started
like everyone else,
everyone. Oh man,
super bullied.
That was such a toxic time.
Yeah.
What is this?
After 5 years of hardcore, I was like I would just come back every league, and then I would play. I got burnt out of hardcore, so I started playing SSF hardcore. And I'll never forget the rip that caused me to just stop playing. I was playing I was playing Caustic Arrow Trickster before Quill Rain was nerfed, and I was running like a tier 14 armory. I was level 97. I was enjoying my time, and I was wearing the boots from Abyss that remove corpses. Right.
Yep.
So I shot into a giant pack of mobs. It was a shrine. And Caustic Rain or Caustic Arrow? Sorry, not what's Toxic the one? Rain. Toxic Rain. There we go. It's both. So Toxic Rain slows action speed, which I discovered that when you slow action speed of a Stygian Revenant who has the mobs, it delays their explosion because it's action speed, not movement speed or attack speed. So I was playing it safe. I shot into the pack, I waited, and then I ran in. But because I waited, like the action speed delay basically got me killed. It insta-popped me and killed my character. And I'm like, I just died to an on-death effect. I have boots that remove corpses. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I literally couldn't see because I shot, and there was just hentai tentacles all over the screen because of the MTX. And I'm just like, looks safe to me. And I was just like, I just gotta stop playing it. So,
yep. I think I stopped. Like, I think it was in. When did I go? I went from hardcore, like tried playing like normal softcore trade and quit like every time after a week because I was like, this kind of feels pointless. There's like no risk, it's basically just a matter of time in trade till you get what you want, and it's not a if. Like there's no if there. In SSF there's always like a little bit of an if. And it took me a while to I think it's like 1 year of trying different stuffs, game modes, builds. Do I want to go full glass cannon in softcore? Do I want to still play a hardcore build? And then at some point, I think it was, what's the league called again? Harbinger was. That's when I did my first, that was when I did my first SSF softcore league. And then I actually played softcore standard for almost a year. I didn't play Incursion, I didn't play Betrayal, I just standard. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Harbinger was my first 100. That was fun. I liked that league.
What was that, Blight?
Oh no, that was RF Berserker to 100.
RF Berserker, yeah. You know you played like freaking Blight to 100, but back when Blight was like
I played
dumpster tier deluxe, like this big of an AoE.
I played Blight to 100 in Breach League, and the only reason it worked is because Blight and Abyssal Cry, mainly Abyssal Cry for like T16 maps, Blight was really, when you have it in a 6-link and it's like level 21 and you have like obnoxious area scaling, I could run like a tier 15 or tier 14 strand and just literally just right click, like just tap it and it would kill a pack. Which was great. So that's like, it was good at that point. It just needed extreme investment to get to that point. But Abyssal Cry pre-AoE nerf, I would open a Breach and double Beyond. There'd literally be like 4 Beyond bosses. I hit Abyssal Cry, and then I would alt tab and play RuneScape for 5 seconds because the game's frozen. Come back in, and just the whole screen just goes pop pop, and your XP bar just goes doo-doo. It was great. I loved it. It was fantastic.
That was super hilarious. I remember that.
So good.
Zergle's crank to 100.
Yeah, Zergle's crank even. That's such a cool staff, by the way.
Yep.
There's actually an ES staff base now in Heist. I don't know.
I saw, the
battery
implicit
staff.
Yeah, it had like 108 implicit ES. I'm like, what's good? That's actually like a lot.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it has kind of like almost
something else, right?
Eldritch Battery. Socketed only for socketed gems. You spend ES instead of mana.
Huh.
Which is, I was like, that's probably useful
really cool.
for something that someone will tell me about once they figured it out.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to do with this, but it is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what you would use that for, honestly.
That's super cool.
Interesting build.
Yeah.
Something, probably. A build, maybe. But yeah, no idea. But that was cool.
I like the cool stuff for sure. I got the belt out of there that says 20% increased flask effect. Your 5th slot flask has no effect. Yeah. But it rolled insane. It has like 5 T1s on a belt. I'm like, what?
Isn't there like a
really cool
keystone for this?
For the flasks? Legion, maybe?
You get something for each empty flask slot.
Oh yeah,
I think I've seen that before.
For each empty flask slot, you get some bonus. I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
I'm going research mode.
All right. Research mode, Yoji. Yeah, it's apparently in Heist as well. They're also trialing like maybe the belt that you picked up was so good because they're trialing like that just the rares having better rolls affixes on them than better affixes in general, like lowering slightly the amount of rares that you do drop and giving them better affixes or anything like that. Yoji seems like he's found
it's got a light bulb.
Yeah, I got a light bulb. I have a quick quest marker over my head. Yeah, the Mariketh keystone. That's the traitor keystone. It has you gain 4 flask charges per second for each empty flask slot.
Yeah.
So so if you have 4 flasks, each of them gets a charge per second, per 5 seconds.
Huh.
Actually, crazy.
That's like
just and you can synergize it with that belt.
Yeah,
and it also scales with flask charges gained. So if you're like a Pathfinder and have like flask charges gained on like it's like Luster Jewel or 2, you can easily let's say double that. Like 100% increased flask charges gained is not difficult to get. It's some investment, but it's not crazy.
You literally have perma uptime on 4 unique flasks, unless it's like some extreme amount, in which case you're Pathfinder, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's actually nuts.
You could probably make a fun build with that.
Yeah, and then you save a finger. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 meta. It's great.
Solving the problem.
That's like that's like 20% reduced RSI taken. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like 4 instead of 5. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah. Oh man. That's amazing. Yeah, no, I'm playing just briefly. Well, I have been playing until I switched to the skeleton. A version of if anyone's seen Arcane's Mind Over Matter, Righteous Fire, Ascendant Miner, using Agnostic as well. It's like using like Agnostic, Righteous Fire, the buff spells.
One of my builds.
That's Pohx, yeah.
A small content creator called Arcane. I was kind of just like following a different build and then realized that like, oh, this guy was the creator. Anyway, it's really interesting using mines and Indigon and Arcane Cloak. So using Arcane Cloak to prop
nuts, right?
Massive Indigon.
Okay, how does it work for someone who's not into the whole mine Arcane Cloak?
So
business.
Yeah, obviously you're going like full Mind Over Matter. You're getting like 58% Mind Over Matter effectiveness through everything on the tree. So you have full mana unreserved. The only mana ability that you're actually using is Arcane Cloak, which is sacrificing like 60%, I think it is, of your mana at that current point. So if you got like 7k
Short
mana...
interjection, there's like a super cool quality Arcane Cloak. Has increased buff effect. Super nice.
That's overpowered, broken. Because you're scaling like literally... with the exception of maybe Archmage, maybe you're scaling like the highest source of flat damage in the game.
It's massive. So
it's like 10% multiplier on your like this big of a mana pool.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So please continue.
It's all good. The tree itself is like you don't take any damage nodes except for like, you know, the big mine wheel and a couple of other mine nodes. But just through the, as Pohx is saying, through the flat added damage from Arcane Cloak and then using Indigon, you're getting crazy, like thousands of percentages of increased spell damage just from one Arcane Cloak. It might not be thousands, but it's, you know, a lot.
It's like 1,000. So don't worry, you're not that far
I was
off.
Like, I was just thinking Indigon does not work with...
Okay.
Work with explain mines, it all? Right?
Yeah.
So let me as a reservation.
You're very much
okay.
Ready.
So all right. Yeah. So you got like a 3k life pool, right? But you have like an 8k mana pool. And by default, 30% mom would hit your life pool. I guess with Trade League gear, with Cloak of Defiance and other stuff, you can get to like 58, right? So you got 3k life and 8k mana. Your Arcane Cloak goes on left click. So as you're walking, it immediately triggers. It saps like 70% of your mana. You have a note on the tree called Dynamo, which says you recover 20%, but Dynamo scales with mana recovery. So the more mana recovery you have, the more it heals of your maximum mana. So then that, you click it, it immediately shoots back up. So you have now a 5k bubble on a 3k life build, but 60% of the damage is going to your 8k bubble, which is already healed back up, but you still have your bubble. If you properly spec your Arcane Cloak, it'll have like literally 2-second downtime. That's it. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's perma uptime. Your mana is always full. Always full, 100%.
So you get some like cooldown reduction and stuff.
Now,
right?
Agnostic, yes. No. You literally just need Swift Wind. Or what is it called? Swift Assembly? Not Swift Assembly. Second Wind.
Second Wind.
Second Wind. That's it.
Right.
Second Wind with Arcane Cloak. What I do is I do Arcane Cloak, Second Wind, increase duration, Arcane Surge. Because it will permanently proc your Arcane Surge, 100%.
Yeah.
All the time. And then Arcane Surge and Cloak of Defiance both give percentage of maximum mana regen, which means mana recovery is scaling that.
Everything
helps.
Those are like everything. It's so good.
mana recovery is nuts.
Yeah.
So like if I put Cloak of Defiance on my Righteous Fire build that's mana based, he gains 600 to 800 mana regen per second from the 1%. And that's not including mana recovery, because mana recovery does not scale the tooltip. So to break it down, if you have 5k mana and you run Agnostic, you are healing 1,000 life a second because of how Agnostic works. To offset that is not difficult because you're scaling mana.
Yeah.
If you have Indigon, if you have Indigon, you'd simply have a juiced up mana flask anyway. Indigon makes your mana flask heal the same amount of life. But because you have Enduring, it's up 100% of the time. So you now literally regen like 3,000 life a second. Yeah. So unless you're going to get one shot
per second,
yes, your health literally just goes like this. Like it's just like that. It's crazy. If you want to go even more big brain, you can use a hybrid flask, and then you can take the one that gives you Fortify while you have a flask
running. Yeah.
Yes. So then you use a hybrid, so you keep it up all the time.
Yeah.
Very strong build.
It's super strong, and it all comes round in circle back to what I was going to say for what we were talking about and what I was segueing from. No. This is good because it ties everything up. But it's like this minor build, I'm pressing 40 buttons because I'm pressing. I'm throwing my mines down. I'm detonating them. I'm now using Sigil of Power, a new skill which is giving me more damage. I'm Wave of Conviction, Conductivity. I'm turning my RF on at the start of every map, which is not another button really, but then I'm also Vile RFing. I'm just like, and Diamond Flasking, everything. I'm just like, okay, let me just look at my keyboard. I'll just hit them all, make sure I've got them all. And then, then my Arcane Surges run out and I lose 75% of my damage. I'm like, oh no. When it works, and well, I'm just getting used to the build. When it works, it's absolutely amazing. But it's just like there's a lot of buttons to press in that. That
sounds such a cool build.
It's really
cool. On the flip side,
such a cool build.
You can flip it and play it as Righteous Fire, which I did League Start SSF 7 Keystone Mana Righteous Fire. And then you have 2 buttons.
This was very I saw this. It was so good,
Yep. It's Scorching Ray and RF. And if you're in Trade League, the sky is the limit with how far you scale because you're mana-based. So you just keep on scaling. So 7 Keystones. It was awesome, dude.
It's so cool.
Almost like 5% of my build is Keystones.
What do you take? Like Glancing Blows? Agnostic?
No. Oh, wait, did I go? Yeah, Glancing Blows,
probably.
Agnostic, Mind Over Matter, Unwavering Stance, because you have, like, no life.
Yeah, that's true.
Supreme Ego for Supreme clarity slash Wrath, or well, no, not Wrath with RF. Then you go, I don't actually remember what the other ones were, to be honest.
Elemental Overload, probably?
Yes, Elemental Overload, and
that's it?
Usually I ask my chat when I get stuck.
You weren't low life. What else is there? Let's see.
No, I wasn't low.
Chat
I
can't
wasn't
help
low
you
life. I have to go find it. I don't remember.
Or maybe Pohx can't count, and there was only 6, and he.
No, there was definitely 7. He got it.
Oh yeah, you got it.
Hey, okay, there was 7. Great. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Pohx isn't a liar.
We're good. We're good.
Awesome.
Pohx can count. He may graduate from elementary school now. That's good.
That's what is malevolence. Yeah, you go with malevolence with supreme ego.
Oh,
That's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Man. I think they really nailed the whole mana archetype thing.
I love it, and I want to get into
brought
it
me
more.
back.
And yeah, I think it's
everything
super,
in
super
that.
Cool.
Yep. Having played my Archmage Igniter as well, also with Agnostic, Dynamo, Arcane Cloak, and also what's a Battle Rouse on the tree, I think really helps.
Battle Rouse,
well.
10% of damage taken gained his mana over X seconds. I have them all memorized.
That is so good. That is so good.
Pohx is you just see the skill tree in his head right now and linking everything together.
Dude, when I was a little kid, I always wanted to play like a paladin character that didn't die. Like I just loved sustaining, and now being older, they gave it to us. They gave us a mana form, and I'm like, that's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
So that is really cool.
That's so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but the 5-head build, that's pretty cool. Actually, I once tried to make my own 5-head build in the very same vein with Indigon. So Indigon gives you the mana flask, applies to life recovery, applies life to life as well. And I made that, but I wanted to play a mana build. That was before Archmage was released, actually, when Ivory Tower came out. So I wanted to make a low life build. And I was like, okay, a low life, okay, ES. And I want to use Indigon because that was the best damage mana scaling way that we had at the time. So the only way. There was no Arcane Cloak. There was no Archmage. I was like, all right, okay, Indigon. Yeah, it's good damage, but I kind of want the life recovery on my ES. So there's a Keystone. If you use it's called Supreme Decadence. If they have the Kadiro Timeless Keystone, it says life recovery from Flask also apply to Energy Shield. It doesn't say from Life Flask. It says life recovery from Flasks. And you have 30% less life recovery from Flask, but it kind of balances out. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to go low life and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't work.
No.
Oh, no.
It doesn't work.
It should, work. Like, from all the wording that there is, it should work. That's also been, like, Googled it, looked it up. It doesn't work.
So the using the mana flask, what you're
should.
trying to say is using the mana flask, which Indigon should be also recovering life from the mana.
It should
recover
life
also
from
go
a
to
flask.
ES from the wording, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah,
it should.
Oh, that's
and there was a thread on the forum where people were like, this might be a bug. This should work from all the wording that we have. There was no comments on that thread. It's one other guy who also tried it and they had the same as me.
Did you just pretend we don't see that? Like, shh.
They just looked at the code. We're like, we aren't gonna fix that.
We're not fixing that.
There was a really weird bug that happened. I don't know if it was last league or the league before, where if you took Supreme Ego, there was a bug where you could keep running multiple auras if you're negative life. And you would take Supreme Ego and take as much possible increase to reservation, blood magic everything, so that you have like negative 22%, like 1,000 life reserved. And then there's a unique that gives you flat ES based off of how much total life is reserved. And people were getting like
that is Ivory Tower, by the way.
Okay, it's Ivory Tower. There we go.
Yes.
It was bugged for one day where people could they could just literally go on their hotbar and turn on every aura with blood magic and just go to like literally 400,000 ES for like one day.
Screenshot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
that's
then
all you ever use it for.
It got patched. It got patched immediately without them releasing anything. But POB was still bugged. So people were going in POB and they were like, "Oh, it still works. You can still reserve it." And it was still bugged. You could technically, I think even now, it allows you to go negative.
Yeah.
Negative, but you can't do more than one. Just one.
Yeah.
You can still go negative all you want in POB without Supreme Ego. You can just like reserve everything and it will just tell you, you are at minus 180 life. Congratulations. But yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
Oh.
That's how some people actually cheese the what's it called, the POB, the PoE Ninja stats.
Yes.
That uses POB to draft it, and some people will have like, you will look at like, they say look at Lightning Arrow builds. So like Lightning Arrow Deadeyes have like 20 of them, and one of them has like 15 million more DPS than everyone else. You're like, usually when you load the POB, you're like, okay, either way it's like a Delver with like 0 HP delving, Or the other thing is, it's one of those cheese builds. That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's a good build. Oh, no, he doesn't. Nope. Never mind. Never mind.
Oh, so good. Man. Oh, well, that was... We kind of covered a bunch of stuff there. Have you talked about everything? Have you got everything off your chest, Pohx, about curses? Or anything crazy important that we missed about your favorite thing about curses? Your worst favorite thing about... Worst favorite?
Worst favorite.
Worst favorite.
Can I tell you my worst favorite? Pohx doesn't have anyone.
If you want to play it, I recommend a cultist for sure. Yeah. Just because of the hexproof stuff. That's really about it.
Or just don't do Plaza map ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I have a worst favorite about the curses that kind of surprised me. When they did rework the curses and the curse on hit rings, for example, there is now always like you inflict vulnerability with 20% increased effect, 30% increased effect on the implicit now, or not on the implicit, on the explicit. For example, Warlord's rings. Isn't that weird? Wasn't this whole patch made to make self-cursing better than auto-cursing? And now you have like the higher roll is, I think it's level 12 or whatever, with 40% increased effect, and the default max doom is 30, right?
Well, what do you mean by default max? Like
if I don't invest into curses, I just like slap on. I think the max doom is 30, right?
Yeah, max doom is 30. But doom and curse effect are different.
Yeah, it's different, right? But it's the same. It's the same stat wise, right? It's like 30 doom gives me 30% increased curse effect if I don't have anything else invested.
Yeah,
true.
So I think so.
Yeah.
So auto cursing is still, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, but it's a lot level.
The level is a bit lower, but on some curses the level doesn't matter as much.
And you're also not getting like your assassin mark or anything like that as a ring curse or anything like that now. Are you? Wait.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Okay, so there's hexes and
my goodness.
There's hexes and marks.
Yeah.
Marks on rings are actually better than manually marking, and here's why.
Oh man.
For some reason, GGG is really weird with coding things.
Yep.
You can only have one mark on a target at a time. If you are self-cast marking, you can mark white monsters. If you have mark on a ring, it can only hit rares and bosses. So the ring knows how to use its IQ and prioritize what's a threat, whereas us, we're like, okay, there's a rare in front of 82 Beyond mobs inside a shrine. I got him. That's a little...
Yeah, true.
It's a little hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is how it works, actually. So yeah, ring confirmed smarter than me. And also the other thing is that how it now works is it doesn't curse on hit because it casts a curse on hitting a rare or unique enemy. So you can't even apply it to white mobs or blue mobs.
Okay, yeah.
But I found that sustaining power charges, for example, with Assassin's Mark, if you have like a few power charges on the tree, if you have like no duration, it's a bit more difficult. But now you get guaranteed one charge per rare you kill, basically, if you have it, because it guarantees a charge.
Yeah.
If you have like 2 power charges on the tree, it's still enough to sustain. So they didn't really nerf it that much. And marks are so much better now against bosses because they
don't get reduced effect.
No reduced effect.
I like that good so much.
Yeah.
And they're actually good.
And
the nodes on the tree are actually good.
Yeah. Yeah. And they made the right move. Well, it would have been a stupid move if they made some sort of mark have anything to do with reduced elemental resistance or anything like that, because then that's just crazy on bosses. But
I think
the right marks are the right marks, I think. Yeah, it's good.
I think that's the whole reason they got rid of, like they split it up. Yeah. So because some of the curses would be too good on bosses and some not. Although the marks are still pretty ridiculous. If you have like a poacher's mark, for example, the life gain on hit on that thing, if you're like cycloning a boss, you get like so much HP.
Oh yeah.
I use just for like one. I use it on my summoner for my pure fizz minions.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good idea.
Mad, dude.
Pretty good. Yep.
So I'm playing full fizz Dom Blow. I think I might try some poetry ring.
Do later. It for sure, because there's no reduced effect.
Really good. Yeah. And if like it just doubles with Cyclone face breakers as well, if that build's ever going to come back, because it gives flat fizz, which just gets massively scaled by face breakers, which is pretty cool. I think it's a sleeper OP bark, that one. Yeah. Oh, Skellies, yeah.
Fizz,
oh yeah.
I should have used it with a sword. I should have used it with the Iron Mass. I didn't even think about that. That would have fixed the build, dude.
It would have fixed everything.
Yes.
Yeah. That's so good. Oh man. Well, I think we might wind it up there. It's been an amazing time to chat with you, Pohx, and also meet you and talk everything PoE, but mostly curses and mana curses.
A lot of mana
and cursed mana. Yeah, but for everyone who is watching live at the moment, well, I'll still figure out what we're going to do. Pohx, are you going to be going back live after this? Or what are you going to do?
I'm going to take a break for like an hour, and then I might go live, so you can...
Yeah, cool, awesome. But yeah, if you've just tuned in or anything like that, don't worry. This is going to be up on Yoji's YouTube channel fairly soon, and then it's going to be uploaded to all major podcasting applications as well in audio form, so you can hear all our lovely voices. And we'll be back same time, same place next week. Right before we go, though, Pohx, do you want to say anything about what you're doing on stream, or do you want to plug your stream a little bit, or just say something about yourself?
Absolutely. So if you guys are curious, you can always catch me at twitch.tv/Pohx. I stream 6 days a week. I usually don't stream on Sundays. I stream from 9 o'clock Central Time to about 6 p.m. I'm playing a Carrion Golem Elementalist right now. It's a pure Fizz Elementalist, so weird for the new people, but for people who understand it, it makes a lot of sense. Working on a second character for SSF, but not really sure. And then a lot of my other stuff I upload on my YouTube, which is ironically 0HXP, but if you just type Pohx in, it'll pop up. So,
heck yeah. Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for coming, everyone. We really appreciate it. And we're going to jump away for a little bit. If you are watching live as well, actually, again, I'll ask you, Pohx, we usually just do like an after show chat for maybe like 10 minutes or something with chat live. If you want to stay around, if you need to duck off, that's totally fine as well, but we'll go for a bit and then we'll jump right back here. But yeah, thank you so much for watching or listening, everyone, and as always, stay sane, Exiles.